The state of the Switch. Is the Nintendo Switch actually worth playing? Find out now on Beyond the Pixel. Make sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell button to be notified when I upload videos. Now, your regular content. So, welcome everyone to Beyond the Pixel, episode 7. This week's topic, we have the state of the Nintendo Switch. And today I have my honored guest. I am honored to have him on here. He's an amazing YouTuber. You may or may not know him, but I know him as Nick from the Last Honest Gamers, who have an amazing podcast, a lot better than mine. And Nick, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
I host a JRPG podcast on my channel, Last Honest Gamers. Trying to build that up. It's been slowly, ever since we launched our Discord, it's been growing, so it's been nice. But yeah, and just JRPG podcast. We ramble a lot and talk about anime, games, and everything.
All right, cool. So like I stated, we're doing the state of the Nintendo Switch. So first we're going to start first impressions. Nick, what was your first impression of the Nintendo Switch when you first heard it announced and when it first launched?
When I first saw it, I was like, I knew it. I knew that consoles were gonna go this route because back in one of our really early episodes, I was saying that the next gen consoles are all gonna be hybrid, mobile or handheld and console, and that's exactly what the Switch did. So now I'm expecting Sony to do the same with the PS5.
I definitely thought Nintendo was definitely going the route of mobile. I would say mobile gaming, and I don't mean by like on your phone, but having the game in the consumer's hand than having it on the screen. Especially, the only competition they had, I would say, within the handheld market was the PS Vita, but unfortunately Sony seems to just kind of given up on the PSP, which is kind of sad because it was a remarkable device in its heyday, and it was one that I owned, the PSP Slim. So I'm kind of disappointed that Sony didn't really put a lot of effort after a certain point into the handheld market and kind of conceded it to Nintendo. And we definitely had stages with the upgrades of the 3DS, of the DS line. And the biggest one would be the Wii U, having it kind of handheld with that kind of wonky controller, but having it on the screen. So when I first saw this, I'm like, this is pretty much classic Nintendo here. They went away from the discs, they went back to cartridges, and it was very interesting to see this hybrid design of essentially the Wii U, but more extreme. I feel like they didn't go far enough with the Wii U, so they decided, we're gonna have to go a step further and go with the Nintendo Switch, or back then we just knew it as the Nintendo NX, which is a really weird naming convention. But when it finally launched, I honestly was kind of disappointed with the games. It seems like they wanted Legend of Zelda to be the main, what leads to Twitch, and then Legend of Zelda would pass off to Mario, which it seems to be a common thing. So when it finally launched, what were your thoughts on the games that were released with the Switch?
I didn't like when the Switch was first released. I didn't really care. Like I wasn't really interested in the Switch at all. None of the games interested me, even Zelda. Controversial, I know, but
Nick, that's blasphemy. You're gonna mass tweet storm. What do you mean? Zelda's the greatest game ever.
Not for me. People, I never like the only Zelda game that I've enjoyed was Majora's Mask. Every other one has It made me lose interest.
Really, because that's the one that a lot like turned a lot of people off after Ocarina of Time.
I know, right? Weird. I'm like the exact opposite. I liked how that was like shaped or made completely different from normal Zelda, so I guess that's why I like it.
Right.
But what I forgot which event it was, but when they first showed Super Mario Odyssey, I was like, I need this now. I need to get it. I need the moment that it's finally on sale, then I could get that I could buy. That's not
Mm-hmm.
out of stock and everything. I gotta buy it. And one night or one morning, I woke up and I looked at Twitter, and the first thing that popped up was like a couple seconds just posted, said Amazon now has the Switch on for Prime. And I'm like, gotta buy it. Just bought it instantly. And all I've played on it is Mario Kart and Cave Story. And Mario Kart is amazing because every night we record a podcast, we just play Mario Kart into the night with our fans. It's great.
Yeah, Mario Kart, I would say definitely went to get the people that didn't want Zelda because everyone loves Mario Kart. Like even my wife loves Mario Kart. She's not a gamer, but Mario Kart definitely targets like to me everyone. But I have to agree with you. I was kind of like, there's like no games for this thing. Like they were being very ambitious with this change, and it was kind of a lackluster game. Um, I would say a gaming library so far. Even when I think Mario Odyssey, when that finally drops and releases, they're going to see a spike in Switch sales because Mario's the Prime Minister of Japan. Of
Oh yeah.
course they got. Of course, the product has to do well with him on the label now. But I think something that's really interesting that they're doing now is having a lot of different non-Mario, non-Zelda games on the new Nintendo Switch. Games like Cave Story. I saw the Binding of Isaac Afterbirth on there. I didn't think the way Nintendo touts themselves as like a more of a family-friendly gaming console that they would have that game on there. So I'm really interested in Skyrim. Like, I mean, Skyrim's being ported to everything because Bethesda just wants that money.
And now there's Doom and Wolfenstein.
Doom and Wolfenstein. It's like Switch is making some great strides, and it's kind of interesting because I don't think of Nintendo as like a big console competitor in regards to like comparing them to like an Xbox or PS4. I felt like Nintendo, I would say since Wii, have been playing their own game. Essentially, like you guys can fight for being the most advanced with whatever graphic GPU of the flavor of the year, while we just do our own thing over here on the side.
Oh yeah, exactly. Ever since the Wii, it's always been just you buy the console, you buy Mario Kart, you buy Smash Brothers, and you're done.
Essentially. And I feel like with the Switch, they realized we kind of need to do something a little bit more than just Mario Kart, Zelda, and Mario. We're seeing games being revitalized, such as Metroid. We're getting a Metroid Prime 4, which the Metroid series to me was best at Prime and has been best with 2D games. And then everything after that has been pretty much trash or just not that great. Some games were okay, but okay at best. I'm really interested to see, with this format, because it is cartridge. Nick, I want to ask you this. What do you think, what direction do you think Nintendo is going to take? They can't go super AAA title, but, Nintendo has a remarkably actually huge library. I put quote unquotes on huge. And what kind of things can we expect from Switch? It hasn't been a full year yet, so.
Well, you saw the difference between the Wii U and the 3DS, right? The Wii U barely had any games, and the 3DS had these games, all these
Right.
third-party support and everything. And now they're combined. So now we're seeing games like um, Project Octopath Traveler on the Switch, and all these other indie games like Shantae, and as you said before, I forgot the man.
Binding
I
of
totally just
Isaac.
forgot the name. Yeah, Binding of Isaac. There you
Yeah.
go. And what they need to do is they need to bring Virtual Console back and make it actually like all their systems. Can you imagine like GameCube Virtual Console or like even more N64 Virtual Console? I can't wait for that to come out.
But see here I'm a refute that with the mini series. You know, we had the NES mini, we have the the SNES mini. I'm sure there's gonna be an N64 mini, and then there's gonna be a GameCube mini, a Wii mini, Wii U mini, even Nintendo Switch mini that's just the size of your phone. um, it's kind of like, why do we need a virtual console now if we're going to re-release our retro consoles? And I consider retro, I would say consider retro pre GameCube. Everything up to pre GameCube to me is retro. The pre GameCube, PS2, and Xbox era to me should be, in my mind, considered retro. So yes, as fans, me and you would love to have a virtual console of a lot of older games, but Nintendo seems to be like, well, we could give you that, or instead of having you pay individually for all these games and all this stuff for us to manage, how about we just give you a mini version with an HD upscale of a lot of games, or a set number of games, based on probably like popularity or sales, which to me is, from a business standpoint of view, is actually very smart, because NES Mini sold out on pre-order. The SNES Mini sold out on pre-order. I can't find that thing anywhere, and people bought into it. Like, holy crap, SNES Mini! I can play Super Metroid now on my HD screen without
Yeah.
having to. I mean, yes, now you have another little console box, but the touting it being mini and being size of your flipping palm of your hand, you don't care. You're like, I don't care. It's the size of the palm of my hand. I'll just wrap it up and whatever. So my question to
It's
you is,
it's
what do you think?
what do you think about what?
The virtual console. I'll just say virtual console versus this new mini thing that Nintendo is doing. Do you think this is going to kill off virtual console to a certain extent?
I hope not. That's what Sony did. They used
Right.
to have all these PS1 classics and PS2 classics, and now they're just releasing the PS1 games as HD remixes and stuff like that. And I'm like, no, I want the stuff that I bought on the PS3 to be on the PS4.
Right.
Come on.
Yeah.
But if Nintendo does, because I know bunches of people who want the Virtual Console, and if Nintendo does not deliver on that, people are gonna be pissed. But I mean, I have an SNES Mini, and I played it, and I'm like, why did I buy this?
Right.
I I I I, I could play all these already on my PC and stuff. Why?
Because it tapped into your childhood. That's the thing. That's the thing with these remastered games to me, is that they're tapping into people's childhood, their memories. They're like, hey, the good times, like, oh man, times were simpler. Everyone's been just eating that member berry pie, and having to look. Have you seen South Park?
I haven't seen it, but I know what they are.
The little
I
member berries,
Yeah, I know.
like I remember. So I kind of feel like that's what's happening now in 2017. It seems like so far the best games have been remastered. Crash Bandicoot, Samus just got remastered on Metroid 2. We're getting Shadow of Colossus probably sometime in the next year or two.
Which
We
doesn't
got
make sense because they just released an HD
HD
remaster on.
upscale, and then, but this one's like completely redone. That was one of the earlier podcasts I covered, was HD remakes versus the whole HD remake remaster genre. And I did not mind games being completely redone from scratch. However, what we saw a lot within the PS3 era and early PS4 were games that were on PS2 just getting HD upscale. And a game that I loved from my childhood was the Sly Cooper series. I got an HD upscale. I didn't pick it up because there was a lot of bugs and stuff that was in that game that weren't in the original game. The original game run flawlessly. I've never seen so many bugs within an HD upscale. So a lot of third-party companies getting contracted out, and I feel like you can get away with it more now with Nintendo because we want to see a lot of Nintendo games come back from our childhood. I mean, a lot of people wanted Nintendo as a kid.
I was not one of those kids, actually.
I was one of those kids, Nick. Don't kill my childhood.
I was on the other side.
You said no Nintendo.
I was on the Sega side. But I had no choice. That's just what I was given.
Right. I did have a Genesis, but we didn't have a Super Nintendo. So I had played Sonic 2 and 3. But I did get an N64, and I did love the hell of that thing. But I also did get a PlayStation as well. So I would say the only Nintendo console I never touched was an SNES. I actually have owned, I think, everything up till the Wii. I did own a Wii U, like family Wii, but I didn't get the Wii U, and I haven't gotten the Switch yet. Emphasis on yet.
When Mario comes out.
When Mario comes out, that's when it's happening. I will wait in line somewhere because where I live, we have different stores that have. I mean, we have the main GameStop and Walmart, but I found this place called Vintage Stock, so I want to stop by there and see what kind of stuff they got. Because I love small stores like that because they have usually some hidden gems.
Yeah. Well, when I go to the Targets near me, I usually see Switches in stock. So I'm like, oh wow, I guess they're in stock now. But I guess I was just lucky when I saw that. But
Yeah, we'll have to see. It's just the beginning to me of the holiday season because once October hits, it's Christmas. Like I've already seen every store I've been into has their Christmas stuff out. So in their mindset, it's now the holiday season. So we'll see as it get closer. It's going to be crazy.
I do ever since I left my job at GameStop, I've now bought all my games on Amazon.
I've always bought all my games on Amazon unless I want to get it used, which. When I get the games on Amazon, I get them digitally now. I just feel like I never want to go into a GameStop to trade in a bunch of games for $4. It's like, well, I might as well just hold on to these games and I don't know, give them to my nephews or something.
Yeah,
but
I just want the physical copies because I want to put it on the shelf.
I see. I don't have a shelf, unfortunately. I stopped. I really stopped after the PS3 era. Stopped really getting, unless it was like a collector edition something game, which is like a big thing now to do collector's editions and deluxe editions. I didn't really get the case. I just I'll just get it digitally and then delete it later for make space for other stuff.
I get things digitally on my Switch.
Now that I can see. I'm not going to carry a bag full of cartridges. I'm just get it, digitally on there. But so far, I would if you were to grade the Switch, what would you grade it right now, pre Mario? I know post Mario you're going to be like A+, but
man, I wish Taylor was here with us because I was trying to get my my co-host who actually uses the Switch every single day.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's all right. I play. I mean, it's awesome. I love the functionality of it. I love the idea, but I wish there was Smash on it. I want to get rid of my Wii U because I don't need it anymore once Smash comes out.
Right.
And it just sometimes though the playing in handheld mode makes my hands cramp up after playing for a long time.
Yeah.
And I don't like that there's no Ethernet port. It's all wireless.
Yeah, that's very weird, especially when they have a dock. I would kind of expect them to have an Ethernet port on that dock. Maybe it'll be like an upgraded dock later down the road that will have an Ethernet port. Um, how's the like HD upscaling? Because I know it's you put it on the dock and now you can put it on your TV screen. Like how does it look? Because I know it's not. I think it's not full 1080p because of a cartridge's limitations. Uh, Someone on Reddit tried to fight me on it. I'm like, no, it's here in the specs. That's not full 1080p.
I my Switch or all my consoles are connected to my monitor,
Mm-hmm.
so I haven't really connected it to a huge TV, but it looks fine to me. It looks like playing a Wii U or a PS4 on there.
Okay, so
I don't really notice anything bad.
okay, I was just trying to see, like, that's kind of, something you don't see every day where you take a game from the big screen and you put it on the small screen, especially when it's reading from a cartridge. So I wanted to, get your experience on, like, how does it, feel like, does it still look great when you put it, like, on a monitor that's, like, 24-inch? Because I play a lot of the time on my monitors because it's easier to record gameplay and all that stuff.
That's the only time I play on my monitor is when I'm streaming.
Okay. So I guess for me, for a grade, I kind of give it like a C. I give it a C plus till Mario comes out. Then I'll get an A. Because right now, it feels like there's just not enough games on there. Like actual new games. We got a lot of third-party games that have already been out. I don't want to get Binding of Isaac again on my Switch when I already have it on my PC. Got Platinum God. Haven't gotten Real Platinum God. That game's too hard. And Cave Story I already have on my PC. But if I really enjoyed it, I would get it again. But honestly, for first-party games, the only thing that really comes to mind for Switch is Zelda and the Mario Kart, because me and my wife just went to the store today and was looking at games, and those are the only two I really wanted. However, I did see a number of third-party games, so I'm hoping for 2018. I mean, there's also Pokken Tournament 2. I think I think it's out, but I'm not entirely too sure. I think it's supposed to come out very soon.
I think it's coming out really soon.
Like in the next, I would say next month or two, it's supposed to be out. But they were hyping up this console so much, Nintendo. Like, oh, Project NX, what is it going to be? I heard it's going to be a cartridge. Oh, I heard it's going to be handheld. All this speculation, all this mystery, because it's Nintendo. They get to have all this fun free advertisement essentially, and when they release Breath of the Wild, and then it's kind of lackluster after that. And then you got Mario Kart, then it's kind of really lackluster after that. I feel like there should have been a better game plan, I guess, in there. Maybe have. I understand that you don't want to crowd your consumers with, all right, here's Zelda, Pokken Tournament, Mario Kart, all in like a 2-month span. That's you're asking way too much of your consumers. So do you agree that they should have spread it out as far as this, or they should have had something, or you feel like they should have had something to fill the gaps a little bit better than just games that are already out?
I think they were lucky that they released the system with Zelda, because if they
Right.
did not have Zelda, I don't think this would have been as popular. Because I don't even remember the launch titles. So it was like
I
one,
think it was
two,
just
three.
Zelda.
It was 1, 2, 3 Switch and like snipper clips and stuff like that. But yeah, it was just Zelda, and it was just typical for Nintendo. We still have Mario. We still have Fire Emblem Warriors and Xenoblade 2.
See, I
That's all
never
coming
got
out.
in those two games, Xenoblade and Fire Emblem.
Those are well, for JRPG players, those are huge games, and I think that's when everything's gonna blow up. This Christmas is gonna be huge for Nintendo, just with all those coming out. Switches are gonna be even harder to find, I bet.
Oh, I believe.
And And then the future even looks great as well. Just like for me at least, there's the Lost Sphere and um, Project Octopath Traveler, and all these downloadable games that I'm looking forward to. But I mean sadly that's how what Nintendo has been for the past like 2 generations. Is you have your PlayStations, you have your PCs, your Xboxes, and then you have your side console, which is the Nintendo stuff.
Right. It's like
That's where
it's your side hoe, you know.
yeah,
You
that's where you get you only she's special in her own way. That's
right.
you play your special games.
Right, but yeah, I agree with you. Like the Wii U wasn't like I definitely heard because the what's funny is that the Zelda game was actually supposed to be released, I think, last year on the Wii U, which was supposed to be like the last saving grace for the Wii U. But then they was like, no, let's just delay it to the launch of a Switch, which is a smart move because if they didn't do that, um, they would have had to rush Mario Odyssey. They would have to have done it because there's no other game I think you can really. I mean, Mario's their mascot essentially, as Sonic is Sega's mascot. But there is no other game I can think of that you would want to be a launch title on the Switch besides either A, Zelda, or B, Mario, because those are the only two series that are really on the consoles. Like Pokemon is relatively reserved for their handheld. Well, I would say they're lesser handheld because it's kind of handheld. Their 3DS, their Game Boy DS line. That's where Pokemon's more reserved. However, I would love to see like a remastered Pokemon Stadium 2 or remastered Pokemon Stadium where I could like send my Pokemon to the I guess the Switch but I mean it kind of is pointless because of internet pretty much killed it, but because back then everything was all 2D and seeing your Pokemon 3D, everyone just pooped their pants and was like, oh my god, N64, you're crazy. um
Yeah.
so you could probably still get away with it now, but put it like on the 3DS, I guess.
Well,
Pokemon kind of go ahead.
they are making a Pokemon for the Wii U or Wii U for the Switch.
Like I hope they don't make a Pokemon for the Wii U.
The Wii U's dead.
Right, the Wii U is dead. The Switch killed it, thankfully saving us all from its terrors and saving Nintendo essentially. I mean, their last saving grace would be the handheld market, which they completely dominate now. But what would you want out of a Pokemon game though on the Switch that's different from the 3DS? It's like like when we see 3DS Pokemon, we're just stuck with the action. I attack you, you get one shot, and then you come out with your next Pokemon that counters my Pokemon, and then you kill it, and then so on and so forth. What would you want to see out of a Pokemon game on the Switch that separates itself from its 3DS brethren?
We've actually talked about this on the podcast, and people did not like my ideas, but I think Pokemon should do this. Pokemon needs to evolve. The battle system needs to change to an action type battle system.
See, I agree with you on that. Like, because to me, I have my spurts with Pokemon. I'm like, oh my god, I have to play this Pokemon game. Go collect at least 100 of those suckers, and then like, all right, I beat Delete Four and collected at least 100 of you. I don't feel like completing this Pokemon Pokedex. Let me just put the game, or I'll actually reset the game. I'll actually Pokemon bank them, like the Pokemon I actually want to keep, and then reset the game and try something different. But I think you're correct in saying that RPGs to me in general need to evolve past the basic action or the basic command style RPGs that we have today, that we've had since the 90s or late
Have you
80s.
have you played Ni no Kuni?
I have not. I have not played too many RPGs. Unfortunately, I actually would love to play more. I just with me and RPGs have a love hate relationship. I would love to play RPGs, but then like the current state of the RPGs I play is like I'll play it for a little bit and then I'll stop because I'll get bored because I'll get to a point where it's just a grind.
No, but the battle system for Ni no Kuni 1 is kind of like Pokemon. You cast out a familiar and then you control the familiar and you do its moves and you could change the familiar like live action.
Right.
So that's what I want the Pokemon to be now is you throw out your Pokemon and then you could control your Pokemon. And if it's like a two Pokemon battle, you throw out two Pokemon, and then you could switch between the Pokemon and control and fight that way. And man, I can't get it out of my head, get the words out. But like the enemy Pokemon it's gonna cast this a ability, and you can see on the bottom or see under it like a red marker showing where the ability is gonna be casted,
Right.
and you can like dodge out of the way and stuff like that. That's what I want to see, and I want to see like more growth in the Pokemon, so you can make him your own. Like you could train him, you could like a talent tree kind of thing, you know? You
Yeah.
could train him your way.
Yeah, it's kind of what you're asking for. It's like if Pokken Tournament had a story, almost. 'Cause that's kind of the vibe I get. Like when I saw Pokken Tournament first come out, I'm like, oh my god, this is how Pokemon should be all the time. And one thing I kind of want is like a Pokemon like MMO. Like you could like start from Kanto, make it to Johto, then Hoenn, then Sinnoh, then no one cares after that. Actually, I kind of do care, but I can't remember after Sinnoh. It's like Unova or some region. Then you end up at the Loa region.
See, I'm worse. I don't even know what any of that is.
It's okay.
I think Kanto is the original Red and Blue.
Yeah, Kanto's original red and blue, and then Johto's like silver and gold. Hoenn is ruby sapphire, and Sinnoh is diamond pearl, and then it goes to black and white. I think that's Unova. I'm not entirely too sure on that. And then I know Alola is the well, then it goes to X and Y. I can't remember where X and Y is at. I have X and Y, but I hadn't even played the first gym leader yet. And then it goes to Alola, which is based on the Hawaiian Islands. But I would kind of like an MMORPG that's not based on the anime, but based on the old manga books. You know, have something along those lines. That because a lot of cool stuff happened in the manga, and you know, I would like something cool like that. There's a flying in front of me, so it's gonna look weird on the webcam.
I remember I had a manga. I was young and I bought this Pokemon manga, and I think one of Ash's Pokemon got hurt and it was like bleeding. I'm like, what the heck? Why is this Pokemon bleeding?
Why did Pokemon come so hardcore?
Yeah, I was really confused.
Yeah, but I think the problem is Pokemon. It plays to a certain fan base, and that is it has to be able to play to little kids. If little kids can't play it, then you know you have to essentially create a Pokemon game that is for knowing that you're targeting older people, which I think Pokken Tournament does. It targets, I would say, age groups 10 and up who actually have better motor skills than just pressing A all the time, A and an occasional B. But you know, I think Pokemon needs to evolve for the Switch. Like, I feel like the Switch needs it. Because to me, on first party titles, Nintendo's not going to survive unless they do some really radical things with Donkey Kong. Bring back games. Like, I would love to see Mega Man brought back. That used to be on a Super Nintendo, and then it went to exclusively like PlayStation. But I would love to see it back on the Switch. I would love to see the X series, not the classic series. I'm so tired of the classic series always being brought back.
I was about to ask you which series do you want back?
I would want the X series. The X series had so much more than the freaking classic series. I did not really like the classic series.
Did you play Maverick Hunter X on the PSP?
I did not. I kind of wanted to play it, but I also like. Have you played the Zero series? The Zero series on the DS
I
is really good.
I played two. I played number two, and it was good. But I never played the Maverick Hunter series until recently, and it's a remake of Mega Man X1, and it's changed. Like they moved the where items are and everything like that.
Yeah,
And I remember that you could unlock this like anime prequel that
yeah. It
tells
looked
you what happened to Sigma, and it's called like the Day of Sigma, and it was like, whoa, this is super dark. And I think the end of the game, Sigma launches a bunch of missiles and kills Dr. Kane. And I'm like, okay, well, they just changed the canon.
yeah. Dr. Kane just gets it's weird because they try to like tie the classic series to X. Like we know Dr. Wily is Zero's creator, but we don't know that that, like based off the video games besides Maverick X, that Zero actually kind of created the Sigma virus based off of Wily's like robo serum thing that caused robots to turn on humans, which in the X series is caused them to go Maverick because of the Sigma virus,
Hmm.
which is originated from Zero, which explains why if you played Mega Man X5, there was the Sigma virus, the purple thing that came at you. If you were Zero, it never hurted you. It only made you stronger or healed you.
Yeah,
Um, so
X5 was supposed to be the end of the series.
yeah, and then like not even a year later, I think X6 came out, and it was terrible because they had the same Japanese dialogue. They didn't have any American voice acting, so they rushed the heck out of it. I don't understand why. I think it was because X5. I think it came out in the late '90s, so it was towards the tail end of the PS1 era. But X6 is just not worth playing, honestly. But X5, if you didn't get the true ending, you kind of didn't feel as satisfied. Um,
Yep.
which I kind of hate how I don't hate how games would have multiple endings and then have a true ending, but you got to do it right. Like you can't, especially for a period there, we had a bunch of if you were good, you got this ending. If you're evil, you got this ending. And then if you made a sequel, it's like, well, if you play one side, you pretty much just play it just for fun because nothing you do didn't matter. It's kind of why I
X.
Go ahead.
Yeah, X6. I actually enjoyed it. It's like at first that was really weird. It didn't feel like because I loved X5,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, this doesn't feel like X5 at all, and it grew on me, and the difficulty is through the roof. It's so hard unless you don't know if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, because there was
But
a nightmare virus that it would, if it infected Reploids, you could not save that Reploid. Even if if you had saved and restarted, that Reploid's like forever gone. So you would essentially had to start over.
and that Reploid would have an item that you might want,
Right.
like Ultima Buster and stuff like that. But other than that, yeah, the story was interesting. You could find Zero because Zero, can I say spoilers?
Oh yeah, spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert!
In case
from a
any of you
20-year
actually
old
play
game.
X6. Right. If you haven't seen
Yeah.
a single walkthrough, you've been living under a rock.
Yep. At the end of X5, he's like dies, but in X6, he's actually alive, and you can find him if you know
he's
what you're
Jesus.
doing. And yeah, and then he was like, I repaired myself, and that's why it took me so long. It's like, oh, okay, I
we
get
don't
you.
we don't even ask how. Like, wait, how did you do this?
Yeah, but he's different now. His saber is different, and he has different abilities, and he has a lot of cool abilities in that game. But the ending, actually, the Zero ending, actually leads up to Mega Man Zero.
Yeah, because Mega Man Zero, I honestly felt the X series felt better and more enjoyable playing as Zero than it did as X. Just because I started off with X5, and when I was younger, I actually could not beat that game for some reason. It was super hard for me, And then when I played it later down the road, I just played it again. Like I got it for my, cause I own the original disc. I still have it actually, and I got it for my PS3 because I loved this game. I just couldn't beat it. And then when I played it just out of nowhere, I just beat the entire game. Like, wow, this game is not as hard as I thought it was. I actually thought out of the X series, I actually thought X5 was the easiest.
X5 is extremely easy, yeah.
Like compared to X4, like I tried to pick up like, oh, X5 is easy. X4 couldn't be that bad, and X4 was kicking my butt. I couldn't believe it, and I know the previous X games were harder just because it just came to like they just took out basic stuff you thought would be in the game to make the game harder, like being able to duck. You couldn't do that in the X4. I'm like, why can't you not duck? There's nothing stopping me from bending my knees so I don't get hit by this thing.
I don't. X4 didn't have ducking? I don't remember that. I know the older ones didn't, but was that a X5 thing?
Yeah, that was an X5 thing. You can actually duck. You could not duck in X4. I was watching a recent playthrough of X4 and like, yeah, you cannot duck in that game.
That's funny.
It doesn't make sense, but
I love all the secrets in X5 because you get like Black Zero and the ultimate armor, and the way you do it is in like really stupid ways.
yeah,
I don't know how I figured it out, but I did it.
yeah, like the ultimate armor. If you didn't know the cheat code, which it kind of sucks, X5 actually, to me, it kind of forces you to actually play X first because basic Mega Man X flipping sucks. Like, he just sucks. You have to play with the fourth armor, which is to me kind of stupid that they just start that out. Like, if you play with Zero, you just get some stupid Zero buster that doesn't even go all the way across the screen.
Yeah, they give you the broken the 4 armor, which has an extremely powerful buster.
It does, but actually, if you did a cheat code, you could actually get the ultimate armor, which was the super busted armor because you had infinite Nova Strike.
Yeah, so cheap.
But it didn't do it to me. It didn't do as much damage though as the first one because you got one shot. But
so to get back on our tangent,
back from the tangent. I mean, it's all relevant.
I know it's like we're talking about Maverick Hunter X. How it was all darker. I would love them to remake this X1, 2, 3 again, but make the storyline coherent and as dark as it should be.
Storyline. You know, one thing I kind of wish it had, and it was kind of going that direction, was like anime cutscenes because those looked like really good. Like X3 started, I believe, with like the bosses actually had like a cutscene, and then
the Sega Saturn and PS1 version did.
Right, and then X4. Oh, well, with the terrible voice acting, we'll get better voice actors with the remake, but I would love to see X1, 2, 3 just completely remaster them, not HD upscale. Have ducking, have basic stuff in there, but still make it challenging. You know, we want challenging games. We don't just want to be able to breeze through it in like 30 minutes. But I feel like for a while there, it seemed like Capcom's main game was Street Fighter and Mega Man, and then after the X series, it's kind of it went down. I would say after X5, it went downhill from there because people didn't really enjoy X6. Now, I'm not saying X6 was a terrible game, but
you want to play a terrible game, play X7. I am surprised we even have an X8 because X7 is awful.
Yeah, X7, I've not heard any good things with X7.
Like you need to find a copy, and then you need to play it. And then you'd be like, oh my gosh, this is not... Yeah, it's like, this is not Mega Man X.
Like they introduced like a new character, Axel, who's just like a weaker Mega Man. It was really weird.
It was was this an X7? I think it was an X8. I think an X7. You don't even play as X. X is not even choosable until like the end of the game.
Are you serious?
Yeah, he's like some like Maverick Hunter leader, so he's like in the background.
That's so stupid. You make a Mega Man game, you don't even play the man whose title is named after until the end. Oh, Capcom, have you fallen?
Well, they
Um,
learned with Mega Man X8 because X8, while still weird, was actually way better than 7.
yeah, I heard X8 improved a lot on where X7 failed. I see what it was trying to do there. It was trying to go into the 3D realm with the PS2, and that's fine and all, but I mean, it didn't make sense to me making an X7 and X8. I mean, it didn't make sense making an X6. So they pretty much went on the off the deep end with X7 and X8. But back to what we what we were originally talking about with the Nintendo Switch. We would love to see the Mega Man X series because Nintendo needs stronger titles. If they're not going to compete with PS4 and Xbox, you got to make it a reason for people to actually, buy your console. If you're not going to be touting that our graphics are better, then essentially you're touting your exclusives are better. Because I feel like that's always an edge Sony has over Xbox, is that Sony has a better overall library than Xbox. I feel like Xbox needs to do a better job with their library, but Nintendo has been, to me, the king of first party titles. In regards to, you can't get Mario on any other non-Nintendo thing. You can't get Donkey Kong on any non-Nintendo thing. You can't get Metroid on any non-Nintendo thing. Zelda on any non-Nintendo thing, unless you do stuff illegally, which we're not going to talk about, or at least not going to tell on you.
I don't know. I don't know what you're talking
I
about.
don't know what you're talking about, but they need stronger first-party titles. To me,
Well, they have ARMS and Splatoon.
no one wants to. Well, actually, there's a decent amount of people that actually do play Splatoon. I actually have a friend who plays Splatoon.
That's a game we totally forgot about. Actually, it was
See,
Splatoon 2.
it's too unforgettable. Better titles. That's what they need. I shouldn't be able to forget.
Yeah, I know people who love Splatoon. It's not my jam, but there are people who love it.
Yeah, when I looked at it, I'm like, I just won't be able to get in this game. I've been super picky with games in 2017 just because it hasn't been that, I would not say that great, but it's just not been not as good as 2016. 2016 was being hit with games every year. I mean, every day, almost every week.
I know a lot of people who would disagree with you.
Well, bring them on here so I can tell them why they're wrong and why.
Well, let's just say that your type of games didn't come out.
My type of games didn't come out.
You don't, yeah, because you're not a JRPG player. But for JRPG players, there's too many games coming out, and we do not have time to play them all.
Oh man, you should have been on my Code Vein podcast then.
To be honest, I have not looked up anything on that game.
I think you need to, because then you're gonna come back to me and like, dude, we need to talk about this, because it's essentially the JRPG of Dark Souls.
That's what people have been telling me. It's anime Dark Souls.
It is cool. Really anime Dark Souls. Like is 100%. I could take everything from that game, put it into an anime, and people would eat it up and have little toys, and Japan would change all their amusement parks to be that thing. So, but all right. So we're gonna go to the final thought section, as I call it now, starting this podcast. So final thoughts on the Switch. It's a great console, but it needs stronger titles. Past 2 gens, it's been weak on titles. I mean, we're getting new titles. We're getting stronger titles now. With Mario's going to blow up. Mario always blows up. Every new console has to have a Mario game. That's just a given. But we're going to get Sonic Forces, I believe. Sonic Mania is also on it. I totally forgot Sonic Mania was on it, which is kind of
that's the system funny. I bought it on.
I actually, funny story, I actually accidentally bought Sonic Mania on the Switch. I thought I was buying it for the PS4, but for some reason, GameStop's website only sells it for the Switch download. I don't know why, which is why I always buy my crap on Amazon, because they never fail me and actually clearly define what I'm buying. Because literally, the Nintendo Switch, the actual saying it was for Nintendo Switch was in gray font and very tiny and at the bottom. Didn't make any sense.
Damn it, GameStop.
Always. Used to be the number 1 seller of games, and now you're going to be the next Toys R Us that's going to go bankrupt. So,
oh yeah, oh yeah.
so
That's why I left.
That's why jump ship before it completely sinks. But what is your final thoughts on it, Nick?
Right now, I keep thinking it's like August, but it's actually October. So this month is actually the time to buy a Switch because all these games are going to start coming out. All the ones that people want. You're going to have Zelda, you're going to have Mario Kart, you're going to have Mario, and then you're going to have Fire Emblem Warriors, and then you have all these other games coming out next year. And hopefully we'll be getting some fighters, maybe some Dragon Ball fighters. I don't know, huh?
Man, Dragon Ball Z Fighters. I'm definitely getting that game. I want to just play Golden Frieza the entire time, or just play Frieza because that's my favorite DBZ villain because he's like an actual villain, not an experiment or a piece of gum.
He actually looks a lot of fun to play too. Cause I didn't. Oh my gosh, we're gonna go on a DBZ tangent if we don't stop.
All right. I'm gonna end the podcast here. So thank you guys for watching. I want to say a big thanks to Nick from the Last Honest Gamers. I'm gonna have a link to his channel down below, so make sure you check out their podcast because they are off the chain. They're really well done. A lot of work is put into them, even though Nick will probably disagree with me, but a lot of work looks like is put into those podcasts. So the link to his channel will be down below, as well as in the end screen we'll have their latest video until they upload another video, and I can't do nothing about that, but check it out. It's awesome. And we will see you guys, I will see you guys in the next Beyond the Pixel. Peace.
See you guys.